Did you watch the Daybell hearing today? Yeah, me neither. No cameras in the courtroom. Imagine that. I have been searching all day for some kind of information with the exception of tweets and have been able to find nothing except a 45-second clip of them both leaving the courtroom or the courthouse or walking outside the courthouse. I haven't been through any of Nate's tweets. I didn't follow it today. I was expecting to be able to listen to it, and I don't know, maybe I didn't get the memo that we weren't going to be able to listen to it today, or that would come later. I don't know, but we're going to go through Nate's tweets as he tweeted us throughout the hearings and see what happened. If you already know what happened, don't spoil it for us because I have no idea. Let's see what Nate shared with us today. And thank you, Nate Eaton, for always bringing us the good info. Stay tuned for this important announcement. Gosh, there's lots of tweets, which we do appreciate so much. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Boom. Okay, here we go. 7 hours ago, Nate's Twitter handle is @NateNewsNow. So 7 hours ago. Inside the Fremont County Courthouse, as a hearing for Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell is about to get underway. Several items on the docket, including motion to sever the cases, Lori's mental health, evidence. Trial is scheduled to begin April the 3rd. Lori Vallow has entered the courtroom in foot shackles. Have we seen that before? I don't think so. She is wearing a white blouse and black dress pants and has a big smile on her face. Can you see it now? Lori is smiling, making small talk with her attorneys. I do not recall another hearing where she has been in foot shackles. Chad has not entered the courtroom yet. Yeah, me neither. I don't recall her ever being in foot shackles. First on the docket, motion filed by Lori Vallow Daybell's attorney to dismiss the case for lack of a speedy trial. The state objects. Jim Archibald arguing on behalf of Lori. Archibald argues Lori Daybell's constitutional rights have been violated as she has not waived her right to a speedy trial, and a trial should legally happen within 6 months of arraignment. This is Archibald speaking. Here we are with a trial set that the defense knows is outside of the time of speedy trial. The state knows is outside the time of speedy trial. So what's the remedy? The Idaho legislature says the remedy is for the indictment to be dismissed. Now, we'll take a pause. I have been looking for all of the hearings in the past that Lori could waive her speedy trial rights, and the only one I was able to find was on July the 17th, 2020. She was in Madison County Courthouse with Mark Means in front of the lady judge Mallard. I can't think of her entire name, but it's Mallard. Maybe Kathleen Mallard. I'll check on that and put it up on the screen here somewhere. Prosecuting attorney Tanya Rawlings arguing on behalf of the state, saying court has already determined good cause to continue or delay the trial. And I did find that in my research when I was trying to find this information about had she waived her speedy right trials before. I saw where the judge did find good cause in delaying the trial a little longer. And Tanya Rawlings, is that her name? Let me go back and see. Yeah, Tanya Rawlings. Are you familiar with this name? I definitely am not. I will have to do a little research on her and see how she has come into the picture. If you know, let me know. I know to you this will just be a splice in the video, but we had to run out and go pick up a kid really quick. So we're back, and this is probably not the same angle, but I tried. We're going to continue on where we left off. 7 hours ago, Nate Eaton in the courtroom, Tanya Rawlings is speaking. She's a part of the prosecution team. And she says, there was a 44-day delay from the defense team that resulted in vacating the January trial date. Nate adds on that this was the time that Lori Daybell's competence was in question, and it was questioned by her defense team. They are the ones that put that to a halt, which created the vacating, which, well, we'll say won't created, but resulted in the vacating of the January trial date. Rawlings asked Judge Boyce to deny the request from Archibald. Boyce says he will issue written decision soon with his ruling on the motion. Next up, Lori's attorneys asking the judge to allow individual voir dire interviews, examinations, when it comes to picking a jury in this case. They want to be able to talk with the jurors about issues such as religion, mental illness, drug use, etc. Prosecutor Rob Wood says the state believes small groups are good when it comes to voir dire, and they will object to the defense attorneys asking the jurors their religious affiliations and what congregation they go to. Boyce grants the motion about individual voir dire, but says small groups will be used and then individual examinations could be used for sensitive issues. Next up, motion to disclose penalty phase information. Lori's attorneys asking the state to disclose any information in its possession or in possession of law enforcement which might be relevant or admissible in the penalty phase of this case. Motion on the penalty phase information can be found at this link, and we'll put that somewhere in the description. Prosecutor Rachel Smith is responding on behalf of the state. She says they will rely on any evidence used in the guilt phase for penalty phase. We will offer any evidence and we will supplement before the discovery deadline an endorsement/witness list for the penalty phase. Smith says they have a witness ready to testify on hyper-religiousity versus using religion as an excuse or reason to commit a crime. Lori Vallow Daybell taking notes as Smith speaks. I don't think we've seen that before. Next up, Lori Vallow Daybell's motion for pre-selection instruction to potential jurors, and there's a link for that motion. The state and the defense agree that some instruction needs to be given to potential jurors before the jury is picked. Each side has submitted their suggested instructions. Boyce grants the motion to have pre-selection instructions given to potential jurors. He says he is working on what those instructions will be and will consider input from both the state and the defense. Next up, the state's motion to compel, with a link in the description. State asking for witness list from the defense. Defense says they will comply and issue a list by the deadline. Judge Boyce denies without prejudice motion to compel after defense says it will comply with the rules and give prosecution list of potential witnesses. 6 hours ago, Nate tweets, motions regarding Lori's case are now over. Chad Daybell's motions will begin after a 15-minute recess. Archibald says Lori wants to remain in the courtroom during Chad's portion. Boyce says that's fine. Chad Daybell just entered. I wonder, would she like sit behind Chad? I wonder where she got to sit in the courtroom to watch that. Let me read through some of these comments on Nate's tweet and see if the answer is in there. No, I don't want to reply. Are there comments on tweets? Because I just want to read the comments. I don't want to reply. How can I do that? I don't see how. Can you do that on Twitter? Not a Twitter user, obviously. All right, we're just going to keep moving. So let me say this before I read this, because there's a little note here from Nate. And last hearing, I did not see where Nate told us what color tie Chad Daybell was wearing. So I emailed Nate, or East Idaho News, their just common general email address, and asked them, could you tell us what color tie Chad Daybell was wearing? And as far as I know, I haven't received a reply. But the next tweet from Nate Eaton says, Chad Daybell just entered the courtroom in ankle shackles. He is wearing a white dress shirt and red tie. He briefly looked over at Lori and they smiled at each other. We didn't get to see that on camera. That makes me mad, like, ugh. Anyway, briefly smiled. Get out of here. Court is back in session. The first motion, Chad Daybell's motion to sever the case from his wife's case as she sits behind him. John Pryor, Chad's attorney, says he has found issues with the discovery and the case should be severed. Fremont County prosecuting attorney Lindsay Blake objects and says what Pryor is arguing was not contained in his written motion to sever. The motion to sever will now be continued to February 23rd so both parties can adequately prepare and file additional documents. Next up, Pryor's motion to compel regarding DNA results. And there's a link to the motion in the description. Nate Eaton tweets, Pryor says, I do want the court to be aware that I did file a declaration with my DNA expert in relation to a number of things. Once he gets the DNA results in 3 weeks, he will need approximately 60 days. That could be past when trial is scheduled to start. The prosecution says the DNA results could be back by the next hearing, February 23rd, so agrees that the motion could be continued for 2 weeks. Motion to compel will now be heard on February 23rd. As attorneys are speaking, I have noticed Chad Daybell occasionally looking over at Lori Vallow Daybell, who continues to take notes. Pryor says he needs more time to prepare for the trial. The concern is that from December the 25th until the present time, I have received 5 additional items of discovery. I need additional time for my experts. Pryor says he was given GPS evidence from the state that was significant, and it has taken a significant amount of time for my expert to evaluate that and issue a report. I don't expect to receive that report for another week. Pryor also says he was handed 1,100 pages of additional documentation last Thursday afternoon that lays out additional witnesses he may need to call. Even if I work 24/7 in the next 3 to 4 days, I won't get through it all. Mr. Daybell has not seen it all. I need more time. Boyce grants Pryor's motion to extend deadline to disclose discovery until March the 13th. The original date was February the 27th. The hearing is over. After a recess, a hearing will be held that is closed to the public. We don't even get to know what the hearing is about or on. Thought we got to know. Maybe not, I don't know. Chad Daybell, oh, and that's it, huh? It's over? So then we have, is that it? Okay, there's that. The hearing is over. After a recess, a hearing will be held that is closed to the public. Okay, and then Something happened and the camera just shut off. Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell just left the courthouse. Shout out to Jordan, our East Idaho News photographer who stood in the 5-degree weather outside the courthouse all morning to get the video of Chad and Lori leaving. So thank you very much, Jordan. We all appreciate you because this is all we get. We can't be inside the courtroom any longer. As far as I know, no audio has been released, but I could be wrong, as the last time I checked was before I started recording, and maybe it's out, or maybe we're not even getting it. I don't know. Nate Eaton posted to Facebook, I believe, that he would be putting out an article or an update on what happened, and so when I started recording, that hadn't been put out either. This is the first time that we saw Chad and Lori in ankle shackles. It is also the first time we've seen Lori taking any kind of notes or anything like that. We also haven't seen Lori and Chad look at each other and have any kind of expression towards each other, and apparently that happened today. Chad was wearing a red tie, and I don't understand why they're still dressing in street clothes with no cameras in the courtroom, but who am I to have to understand that? Let me ask you this. Are you a part of the Idaho Vine text? The amount of text that they put out is a bit ridiculous, I believe. I want to do a video about it. I just haven't had the opportunity to get that done. But I want to say I saw text about a February 10th date, but I'll have to go back and check on that. Today is February the 9th. Daybells were just in court today, and tell me, what do you think about all of this information? It really doesn't seem like we got a lot of information today. The trial is still set. Lori's still competent as far as we know, and everything's moving forward. So, tell me, do you think we're still going to have a trial come April? And if you're still here with me, I'll tell you a story really quick about me doing, just about me, really. So, I decided for the channel I wanted to start doing like full stories on cases. So the Daybell case was going to be my first one, and I went and I did a little research on how I should do it and how I should be presented to you, and I put together this 15-page script, like script word for word. It takes like 30-45 minutes to read through it, and I set all my camera stuff up, and I'm getting ready to record the Daybell story, and I like set a laptop up as my teleprompter, right? And I'm like reading my script to you all. I like record the first 5 minutes, and then I record the first 5 minutes again, and then I record the first 5 minutes again, and I'm just like, this is not me. This is not what I do. I don't read a script that's right here and just read it off to you, and it just didn't work. And I really have been working on that like all month and have gotten really nothing accomplished because I'm not doing that. I'm not going to put a script up that I just read to you. I feel like today is a little different when I'm reading through tweets, but to read you like the whole story, it was just a little weird. So be looking for the whole Daybell story to come out from this channel, but it's just taken me a little bit longer than I really wish it would, and I want to do something a little different with it, hoping that I can set it up in a way for everyone to get what they want out of it. So with that, I appreciate you taking your time out to come on this date with me, and just let me know what you think about what happened today in the courtroom. Something else I heard the other day when I'm doing all this Daybell research is John Pryor filed a motion to have cameras in the courtroom during the trial. And as far as I knew, that hadn't been addressed yet. But I saw a video put out by It's a Crime, Linda, saying that that motion had been denied. So I haven't found that information. I didn't really look too hard for it because I don't want to believe that. But if you find that to be the case and you know that to be true, drop it down in the comments and let me know if you had heard that that motion had been denied already, or if you also thought, like me, that it just hasn't been addressed yet. So let me know. Still fingers crossed that John Pryor will be our last hope for cameras in the courtroom, or maybe Larry and Kay Woodcock, because they put out a pretty compelling video to the judge and to the people about wanting cameras in the courtroom and why. So I'm just hoping that those things will affect the judge's decision come trial. I just also feel like, I don't want to keep saying I feel like, but I do. That's what I feel. I think that the judge wants the pre-trial publicity to calm down, which he said it had since the cameras were taken out of the courtroom. And so just hoping he puts them back in. So again, I thank you for being here with me. Make sure not to miss a date with me because they are very sporadic and you never know when I'm going to pop up, but I will definitely see you soon. Not that she had signed her speedy rights, her speedy trial rights. Tell me, do you think we're still gonna be? Do you still tell me? Chad was wearing, I guess. Well, okay, so I highly don't think that is gonna happen. Jury stuff, pre-selection, and what they individuals or groups, and shout out being the courtroom or the court of. Even if I work okay, these are quotes. Is it the 23rd? Yeah, the 23rd. Okay. I do not want the court to be awake, not awake. Court is back in motion, no, session. His wife's. He is wearing a white dress shirt. I wish I could talk today or read. All right. Chad Daybell just entered the courtroom in ankle shackles. Why do I want to say shankles every fucking time? Chad Daybell just entered the courtroom in ankle shackles. He is wearing a white dress shirt and a red tie. He briefly looked over at Lori and they smiled at each other. That the, let's see, religiousity? No, I don't need to record it twice, but of course, if you're a tweeter, you know. Motion to Archibald. Evidence. Oh, I see. All right, starting back. Stay tuned for this important information. With the exception of, she goes on to say that, or she doesn't, she quit saying it, and Nate Eaton just added a little bit to it saying